Let's go now to our presenter, Lisa Chirakos. She's the founder of and CEO of WorkBee. It's a website development and marketing company with headquarters in Niagara Falls. She's a former SCORE volunteer and participates in the Women's Small Business Center at Canisius College and other locations. She's a valued presenter for SCORE Buffalo Niagara and for other organizations in the area. Lisa, we're pleased to have you presenting tonight, and we look forward to what you can tell us about e-commerce. The microphone and the controls are now yours. Please go ahead.
Thanks. So I just want to take a minute to piggyback on what Ted said. I spent 20 some years in the corporate world and was the beneficiary of a SCORE mentor. We brought in SCORE for our production and warehouse facility. It was invaluable consulting that we would have paid tens of thousands of dollars for. And SCORE has been a part of my journey from start to finish. So, make sure that you stay engaged. They have some amazing events. They have fantastic training, and it is all umbrellaed under the SBA. So I want to thank everybody. I will also want just to make sure you guys know, we're going to be interactive. I'm not going to talk at you for the next 2 hours. We're going to be interactive. I got some stuff I want to show you, and then some activities that I'm going to ask you to participate in. Ted had sent me some feedback in regards to what everybody wanted to get from this. And we have a wide range of where people are, from some people just starting off, don't even know where to start. And then we have people who have e-commerce businesses already and just can't see maybe to get it off the ground, or just want to take it to the next level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pivot in those 3 areas. So some things are going to be so applicable to you and some things may not be. So I just ask that you have patience during the times that maybe it's too 101 or too advanced. So I just want to get in the chat here for a second. And I'm going to put my Mr. Magoo glasses on, because if you've been looking at screens for as long as I have, your eyesight is really bad. All right, show of hands, and you can raise your hand or just put in the chat, where you're at with your business. If you choose not to share and you want to keep that confidential, that's totally fine. But I would really love to, if possible, to try to address everyone's need for information. So I am going to start by saying hi in the chat. All right. Now, when we think about e-commerce, this drives me nuts, because e-commerce is not just for product-based businesses. If you are a service-based business, if you are selling services in person, virtual services, digital products, physical products, e-commerce is going to pertain to you. Much of our business, we started to focus on e-commerce a few years back. And since 2020, we've built 150 e-commerce sites. Much of them are coaching sites or digital service providers. Some are physical service providers. And then about 30% are product-based businesses. So when you say the word e-commerce, all I want you to think about is this is just making a digital transaction, whether it's booking a service, booking a discovery call, booking consulting, coaching, downloading a digital product, or buying stuff online. It is all the same. It's just a digital transaction. All right, so let's kind of get into this. And this is the official definition of e-commerce. I'm not going to read this stuff note for note, because you're going to get this presentation, and this presentation afterwards is really for your consumption. Today, I just want to talk with you and get an idea of where you're at and try to answer some of your questions that are just keeping you up at night. So 63% of shopping occasions begin online. And most people, no matter what they buy, even if they go to Walmart or if they go to their local store, 63% of those shopping occasions begin online. So they look it up, they look up to see who has the product or the service. Sometimes they make that procurement online, sometimes it's in person. Specifically, if you are addressing a local market, having a Google business profile is very, very important, because 84% of people who interact with a Google business profile will either visit the website or the brick and mortar within 24 hours, 84%. Super important you get that set up. 49% of online shoppers prefer digital wallet, like Google Pay and Amazon and all those other digital wallets that you can set up. I'm a Google girl, so I have a Pixel and my Google wallet on my phone. And then 43% of people research companies on social media before buying. So you could have this really great product that you're selling online, but they're going to go snoop you out. So making sure that your digital footprint across all spectrums is consistent and that it's aligned with your message that you're putting on your website. 80% of people prefer to pay online. So if you gave, if you did a survey of 80% of the population in the United States, and they said, would you prefer to pay with a check, with cash, or would you prefer to pay online? 80% of those folks said they would prefer to pay online. So it doesn't matter whether you're selling a product or a service, you should have some type of e-commerce implemented within your digital infrastructure. So platforms, I want to talk about platforms today. And I want to look at the chat here. Yes, Gary, world-renowned author. I think he's on Amazon, right? Awesome. Hello from Miami. Oh my gosh, fantastic. Love our Floridians. Hi, Lisa from West Seneca. Excellent. Hi, Sarah. So I've interacted with Sarah in other programs. I want to talk about platforms tonight because I think that is probably the most important decision that you'll make, aside from what kind of product you're going to sell or service you're going to offer, because platform is going to really kind of set the stage for how your business is going to be. So there's, depending on whether you're service-based, product-based, or delivering a digital product. When it comes to product-based, everyone knows Shopify. There's WordPress. We standardize on WordPress and Shopify. Those are the two platforms we build on. There's BigCommerce. I mean, there's a lot of e-commerce platforms out there. I'm just giving you the ones that are just tried and true. And kind of, we go from the spectrum of very easy to more complex. BigCommerce is complex. It's more, I always say it's the big boy toy. And then you have Square, which is squareup.com. So if you're selling in person, maybe at farmers markets, your product, or you're selling at events, your service, Square is a great way to sell physically with a card reader in your phone, but it's also a great way to sell online. Service-based businesses, WordPress, Kajabi, in terms of courses and digital products. And then there's ThriveCart, which is kind of a newcomer to the market. Not newcomer, they've been around for a while, but they've gained a lot of popularity in the last couple of years. And if you just want a cart, a shopping cart, and send people a link, or you can integrate it into a platform as well. And again, Square, you can always use Square for service-based businesses. If you're selling in person or online, doesn't matter. Limitations, pros and cons to all of them. And we're going to go through a couple of them. We're going to go through Shopify and WordPress because those are the most popular. We'll go through the pros and cons of them. And I'll give you my experience from my seat. But at the end of the day, you have to live with this forever. So you're going to want to do your homework, do your due diligence, and make sure you're picking a platform that, one, fits your business, fits where you're at from a technical skill set perspective, but most importantly, that the workflow works for your customer. Okay, and we'll talk about that too. So benefits of e-commerce, if you want to sell online, and let's say you're not delivering physical services to a local geographic region, you can reach more people. You can break those geographic boundaries. Really, the world is your oyster if you're going to sell online. And, you know, cost reduction, low overhead, you're not carrying inventory, very much less expensive than brick and mortar. But we have folks in our client base that we call clicks and mortar. They have online e-commerce and they have brick and mortar stores. We have several of those folks. And then you know, when you think about supply chain, so, you know, if you're going to procure a product, there's drop shipping available for you and global procurement. So if you run out of product, you're not relying on the local economy for your supply chain. So that is a big advantage, especially right now. And then improved customer relations and improved customer experience. If you listen to nothing I say to you tonight, listen to this. Our time is our most valuable asset. And when people can save time, that becomes, you know, a convenience to them. They save time by buying online and it becomes a convenience. So the more convenience that you can provide to your potential customer, you're going to win. That's why these big chains implement these no questions asked return policies. That's why it's really easy to return stuff on for Amazon, but convenience is what people want. They want to be able to get on a device, whether it's a computer or a mobile phone, get what they need and get on to what's important in their lives, like being with their family or, you know, working in their business. So I just say to you that convenience and our time is our most valuable asset. And even more important than that, when you talk about marketing your e-commerce business, you are not competing for somebody's dollars for their wallet. Those days are gone. You are competing for their attention, because our attention span now is about the size of a gnat. So, you know, you'll see it on your social platforms. You're just inundated with ads and messages and people are selling you. And all they want is your attention. They want to grab your attention and get you into the funnel. So you're not, when you're marketing, you're not competing for dollars, you're competing for attention. See what we have. I want to read some comments. Yes, you will receive, Michael, you will receive a recording of the webinar. So right now I want to talk about the different types of e-commerce. I'm going to go through this super quick because this is stuff you can read. But think about this. There's business to consumers, right? Businesses sell to end users, we call them in technology. And there's many variations of that. So there's different ways that businesses sell to consumers. B2B, meaning you're selling to other business and often the buyer resells products to the consumer. C2B, so consumers selling to businesses. And C2B businesses allow customers to sell to other companies, much like marketplaces, right? Same thing with the C2C. But and then they get into selling to government agencies, consumers selling to governments, and then governments selling to businesses. It gets real crazy, but there's all different types of business models when it comes to e-commerce. So let's go through some of these platforms. And what I'm going to do over the next few slides is I'm going to get out of the slide. I'm going to share my screen, show you some examples of the things that I'm speaking to. And again, I want you guys to be interactive. If you have a question, ask. I'm here to serve you. I don't want to just talk at you. Okay, so Shopify and WordPress and WooCommerce. WooCommerce is the shopping cart of WordPress. So WordPress is the repository that you would put your website into, and then WooCommerce is actually, excuse me, the shopping cart that you would integrate and set up. Shopify is pretty much just for selling stuff. Pros and cons to both. Shopify, I always say, if you're going to sell products and you don't want to create an experience, branded experience type of thing, then you can do Shopify. It's kind of scrappy. It's easy to use. You can have a store set up in a day. But if you wanted to create an experience where you have imagery and interactive elements on your site, you would need a developer for Shopify. There is design limitations. You get a theme. Most of the themes are about $180, and pretty much you're stuck with that look. So your design, if you want to get creative with design, Shopify is definitely not the way to go unless you're a developer. And then the con, it can get pricey. So with Shopify, you want any additional features, just like the rest of them. I always say this, you pretty much have this lifetime sentence of this monthly bill, and anything else you want, you have to pay for. So any additional feature that you want to use in Shopify, don't get me wrong, there's a set of free apps. There's apps that you can install for free. But in terms of function and features, most of them will cost you a monthly subscription. And I say that's your lifetime sentence. With WordPress, the advantage there is that you can add a lot of features without additional cost. They have a repository of plugins, millions and millions of plugins that have free versions that do a job just fine. Very rarely, out of all the sites that we built, and last year alone, we quantified about 15,000 pages in websites, and I could count on my hands how many times I had to buy a plugin because the pro version had what we needed. But the downside of WordPress is configuration. It's a setup. You got to set it up, and it needs some maintenance. So every month you got to log in and update the software that you install, the free software that you're installing. But it is more economical. It's scalable, and about 35 to 40% of the internet is powered by WordPress. Square. So Square, I'm not a fan of Square, but we have customers on Square because it works for them. It's easy to use. It syncs inventory for the online and the offline. So if you're selling at farmers markets or you have a store, it syncs inventory, which is really nice. You're not managing two different inventory sets, but you do lose control of the setup. There is very little SEO capabilities and very, very limited design and branding. So there's trade-offs to each of them. You're either going to have the full spectrum, but invest your time with WordPress and the setup and the configuration, or you're going to pick Shopify and Square and say, I just want to get up and running, and I'll worry about creating an experience later on. Yeah, very good question, Robin. I want to address, and I will explain, Mavis, what SEO is. Sorry about that. I use that jargon, insider jargon. So with cybersecurity, any of these programs that I'm telling you about right now, you do not store credit cards. You do not handle the transaction. The liability is off of you. The only thing that you have to worry about, so when customers make a purchase, they're giving you their name, their address, their phone number, all of that. That part is stored for you if you choose to keep it. You can set that up for yay or nay. But no credit card information is stored. And this is called PCI compliancy. Any retailer, and I used to be in national retailer with customer analytics, and we would go into the servers. We needed a background check to go into their server rooms. We had to get fingerprinted. Our license, our driver's license, and our license plate had to be taken down. PCI compliance is very strict, and merchant services like PayPal, like Stripe, anybody that you go to a restaurant and you swipe your credit card, that's the merchant service. They take the liability of the transaction, so you don't have to worry about that. What you do have to worry about is that somebody doesn't hack your site, and there's ways to protect that using good passwords, logging out of the site when you're finished updating it, not leaving it open, not updating or working on your site in a public network. I mean, that's more of a risk than anything. What can they steal from you at that point? They can steal some customer information, possibly names, addresses, and email addresses. But even worse is they hijack the domain because they don't really want what's in your site because it's not valuable to them. They want the traffic to your site to go somewhere else. So typically that's what happens is they'll hijack the domain. SEO is called search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is a series of activities that you will do so that your product shows up in platforms like Google, Facebook, Instagram. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I'm going to have you do some exercises. But I don't want to call it SEO. So I'm going to stop saying that acronym. All I'm going to tell you is, like I tell all of my other mentoring clients, is your words matter. The words that you use to describe your products, your services, the words you use within the content of your social media have a huge impact on who gets their eyeballs on your business. So when I say the word SEO, I just want you to first go to words because we're humans. When we have a problem, what do? We go to our device. All right. And I'm going to give you a scenario later on in the slides, and you're going to do this with me. And I have some tools I'm going to share with you that you can use for free that you're going to take with you tonight so that you can do some homework and research about how your customer is searching, right? Because, hey, I always say you need to show up when it matters. And the only time it matters when you're running an e-commerce business is when someone's looking for a product or service that you offer. That's the only time it matters. So next is, there's different types of applications that you can use e-commerce for. Shopping carts, traditional, put the product in the basket, in the cart, go to the checkout. Then there's subscriptions where you're signing up and there's a reoccurring charge every month, every quarter, every year. And then there's one-time payment e-commerce. So it's like registrations for events or workshops, project-based work. We have one-time payments because if we build a site, unless they're signing on for marketing services, it's a one-time project. They get one invoice, and when they're paid, they're paid. So those are the different ways, different applications. So it doesn't really matter what business. And when I say one-time payments, this also could be for a landscaper. Last year, I went online, ordered my landscaping service. Do you want your bushes trimmed? Do you want this? Yes, yes, yes. Got my total checked out. And I actually did this with the landscaper. Even me was completely amazed because most of the time, you got to call, you got to have them come over, get an estimate, send a check. Oh my gosh, I had this done and booked in 10 minutes. It was amazing. And it was also, again, convenience because my time is really, really important. Okay, so understanding and using technology. Robin and Mavis, I hope I answered your questions for you. So when you begin this journey, you got to get super comfortable with the idea that you're going to be on a learning curve with technology. Even if you are like super techie savvy, and anyone, I don't care who it is, and you get on a software for the first time, it's like you're out in the ocean in a boat with no life jackets. Like, where am I? And it's dark outside. How do I do this? And you're clicking all around. So there is going to be a learning curve with some of the technology that you're going to need to implement, understanding how it works, and managing it on a day-to-day, right? So when we talk about marketing technology, one of the things you're going to find software for is what we call conversion rate optimization. Does anyone know what a conversion rate is? Let me give you guys a chance to see if you've ever heard that. Anybody ever heard what a conversion rate? Getting info. You know what, Gregory? That I'm going to say yes, Gregory, because, okay, Brooke, Brooks, what is the conversion rate to you? Because it's going to be different for everyone. Ooh, Amy. Ooh, girl, you hit that. Yes. Turning visitors into customers, converting leads into paying customers. When you make money, yes, Sarah, exactly. People who place orders after clicking on your product, that is a conversion. Here's the thing. If I'm in a service-based business, I might think of a conversion as getting them on my email list. That's my conversion. If I'm in a product-based business, I might, be interested in that conversion of a sale. If I'm a coach signing up for my program. So you're going to need technology in place that's going to be able to, you'll need to be able to look and say, how many visitors did I have? Where are they going on the site? And out of those visitors, who actually converted? So you're going to need to optimize always your conversion rate. The big e-commerce stores has somebody full-time, probably a whole team that just do this all day long, every day. And then there's digital touch point management. So your customer journey isn't linear. And I find myself just driven absolutely nuts. We have chat on our website, Facebook messaging, Instagram DMs, LinkedIn private messaging, the forums on our website, email. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So communication platforms you're going to have to manage. And I was a real stickler at first. And I'll address that, Carlos. That's a very important point. I was a stickler. I'm like, I'm not managing all these things and they're going to email. So I had auto responses on everything and no one emailed. And I lost opportunity. I just recently, over the holidays, lost some opportunity from not checking my LinkedIn messaging. So digital touch point management, you're going to have to really get your arms around. And Carlos, I'm going to speak right to you, my friend. How do you get them on an email list? Email is number one when it comes to sales. Online, in-store, service-based, coaching, doesn't matter. Email is still number one. So my advice to you would be to focus on what we call list building. And there's various ways. Yeah, you're right. Amazon does. Amazon's the pig of e-commerce. No offense, Brooks, but they are. I have 2 customers on Amazon, and I'm just amazed at the amount of money that they take from small businesses. But here nor there, you're paying for the audience. You're paying for the traffic. So with that being said, with email, let me just give you a scenario. If someone was to walk into my office and they were to walk around and I'm standing here and they're looking at everything and then they walk out, I have no ability to say, hey, was there something that you wanted that you didn't find here? Maybe I might offer it 2 months from now. Can I get your information? If you operated in a face-to-face situation, you would greet customers, you would find ways to get their contact information, and you would try to find out what they were looking for, right? That's like 101 retail. I don't care what website you're on, whether even just services, any business should have some type of system set up on the website where it's like, hey, not just a pop-up that says buy, but get on our list and incentivize them. And this way you can keep them updated on new products that come out. You can keep them updated on new programs that you're offering or group coaching sessions or whatever. So email is still number one. I have a coach in my roster today, and on Friday, she clocked in with a $24,000 week. Can I say that one more time? $24,000 week. She does about $1 million in sales a year, and she does digital products, but everything is done through email. She sells everything through email. You cannot email this girl. Like, you try to email her, you get an auto response. You can't email her, you can't call her. You want something, you got to go through her process. But all of her sales are done through email. So the key technology you're going to be wanting using is some form of analytics, and I recommend Google Analytics. Do not trust the platform analytics. I've been in more occasions where there's discrepancies. So use a Google Analytics, and it's free. You're going to have to manage multiple social media platforms, and then software. You're going to need operation software, shipping software, inventory finance, chat software if you're going to use chat features, which I would recommend right now. We just implemented chat, drives me nuts, but I'm using AI, artificial intelligence, that will answer the frequently asked questions. But here's the thing with social media, and I've mentored over almost 300 businesses in the last 2 years, and about 90% of them say, I hate social media, I hate Facebook. How many of you will say that today? Just like chime in if you like can't stand getting on social media. And here's the thing. Oh, here, Brian Kelly. Yeah, everyone. I like forcing entrepreneurs, and I hate Facebook. I despise some of this stuff, but it is we can't me they ignore you. content, Carlos. Yeah, so social media is the double-edged sword. If you're going to be doing e-commerce, there's 2 ways you can go about this. You can grow organically, which if you don't have a big budget, then that is the only way to grow. And the only way to do that organically is either you getting out and networking every single night of the week, or being on social media where you can get in front of a few more people from the comfort of your home. That's how I think of it. Then you can do what we call, excuse me, I'm so bad, allergies right now. You can do what we call pay to play. And some I recommend, if you can afford it, do, oh, I hate Instagram. Yes. Yeah, no, I have that issue. Mar, I have that issue on Facebook. So pay to play is just like run ads, get off social media, put a few posts out to keep your account alive, and pay to play. But one, you better really know what you're doing, or you're going to burn money really quickly and not get an ROI. And 2, if you're not an expert in your customer, you're going to target the wrong people. So if you're going to pay to play, get a professional to help you at first, so that you are not wasting money. All right, now we're going to get into the fun stuff. We're going to start doing stuff. I want to know if all of you are on a computer that you can access an internet search like a Google or a Bing or anything, because I'm going to have you guys do some exercises here that will help you. Yes, awesome. Okay. Remember what I said earlier? Every word you use will have an impact on your online business. Every single word. The words you use to describe your business, your products, your services, the problems you solve for your customers will determine whether you show up in front of them. So I want you to remember that as we go forward, and a picture is worth everything. If you're selling product, my friends, product images can make or break your website. It could be the deciding factor whether someone will purchase or not. And here's the funny part of it. They don't even know that. It's all subconscious. The imagery works on the subconscious. It produces a feeling. So if you can elicit emotion, you will elicit action from your visitor. If you keep them in a state of inertia, which is, neither way, I'm just in inertia, they will never take action. So your words and your imagery must elicit emotion, whatever that may be for your business. I don't know. I mean, I had a guy that invented field hockey equipment, really good. And we focused his imagery on that college kid on the field hockey team who is winning, kind of like Nike. We just focused on that imagery so that the customer can put themselves in there. And I'll give you an example of this, and I can say this with tongue in cheek. I'm 54 years old, okay? I go to Ulta with my 20-something daughters. Now, if you see the image on my screen, there's this beautiful girl, and I don't want to be sexist or anything like that, with these big, beautiful red lips. My logical mind says, put that in the never going to happen file. But my subconscious buys that. I want that. Give me that. I mean, my real brain knows my lips are not going to look like that. But what this image does to the subconscious, and we operate on the subconscious actually our whole life. If we are thinking in our heads, we are operating on the subconscious, which is autopilot, automatic. So search engine optimization, here are some of the activities that you'll be doing for your website. Again, whether you're selling products or services, doesn't matter. So the people who understand search engine optimization, that just means optimizing your content and your website to show up in search. Those are the folks that win in the long run. SEO is a long-term strategy, but it can significantly increase your organic traffic and growth while you're off on vacation. So let's put it this way. When I say pay to play, I'm going to run ads to get traffic and get customers. But once I stop the ads, the faucet turns off. With search engine optimization, it's something I need to do over 1 to 2 years. And anything I do today for SEO, I won't see the full benefit for 9 to 12 months. You know what? It stinks. But here's how I want you to think about this. If any of you take $100 and put it into a savings or an IRA, I want you to think of this activity as in the same manner. You are putting equity into your business. You're not going to get the reward right away, but you know it is going to grow for you over time. So SEO is the same way. And there are lots of factors that come to play and how a algorithm, whether it's Facebook or Google or Bing, how they present you, but they're all looking for some of these same things that I have listed here, which is your words on the website. Does it match the words that the person is searching for? And then your image, your images, you have to name them because these algorithms don't have eyes. The naming of the images let the algorithms know what the image is about. That you have backlinks, that other sites are linking to your site. Could be Facebook and Instagram that's linking to your site. That you have some form of credibility. They do look for credibility, and that content length and quality is good. So if you go on your site and you're like, not capitalizing your words, missing periods, using a bunch of foul language. I mean, foul language is okay. It's trendy right now, but just making sure that your content is quality and that it's mobile friendly, because most of us now, about 75%, are shopping and looking from our mobile device. Any questions before we get started on the exercise on what search engine optimization is? So when we talk about this, you can't do any of this until you know who your customer is. And this is 101, and SCORE does a great job. If you want a mentor with SCORE that can help you identify who your customer is. And years ago, when I was in tech, this was a really linear journey. It was, you go to trade shows, you look at all the cool technology. I follow up with a phone call. I travel across the country to come see you. Not anymore. Somebody wants something. They typically will do the homework themselves. They don't really need a salesperson. I mean, I argue the fact that sales might be dead, that cold calling, that, hey, can I come and see you? I just don't see that sustainable. How do you find your target audience? Nathania, I hope I pronounced that right. That is such a good question. So when you're talking about how you find your target audience, here is an exercise we're going to start with right now. I am going to ask you a question, and you're going to answer it within 60 seconds. And if you can't answer the question in 60 seconds, you have to work on answering the question in 60 seconds. You ready for the question? I want you guys to chime in either in the chat or write it on a piece of paper. If you don't want to share it, I'm good with that. But this is the first activity. What problem do you solve for your customer? Sometimes it's 3 problems. 60 seconds. Who can answer that in 60 seconds? Boom, boom, boom. I solve this, I solve that, I solve this. And here's how I solve it. Here's their problem, and here's how I solve it. Marjorie, so hold on, guys. Hang on, because you are not giving me problems, you're giving me solutions, and this is where we all go wrong, including myself. Right? Time management isn't the problem, it's the solution. I solve a need for bar services. Okay, you could solve a problem or fill a need, but there is some type of problem that they're having in order to have a need. You provide warm fashion accessories for winter. That is the solution. What's the problem? So Mavis, I would challenge you to say, look, you know, we live in Western New York and it's cold, and you know, I'm sick of wearing these ugly old scarves and gloves that are hand-me-downs from my husband or my kid. And not only that, I don't want to buy gloves and hats from Walmart anymore because I wash them once and they fall apart. You see my problems? Now you can provide that. James, convenience. That is the solution. That's not the problem. Marjorie, you're offering gluten-free options, nut-free. That's not the problem. What is the problem to someone who needs a gluten-free option? Tell me what the problem is. Okay, refund. Kalik, Allah, refund. Do you want your refund? This was free. Sarah, that's a problem. That is a problem. But not only identifying the problem, you have to tell me how you are solving it. Now, to answer the original question is like, well, how do I find my ideal client? First, you have to figure out what problems you solve, and then you have to identify who has these problems. And I want you to throw away the old stuff, and Ted might kill me for this because so many places still teach this. College universities teach it, SCORE still teaches it, SBDC still teaches it, but I've thrown it in the garbage because I don't go by the traditional, and this has worked very well for me. I don't worry about how old they are, how much money they make. I don't worry about like where they live, all the demographics. Here's what I worry about. I want to understand how they make decisions. I want to understand what keeps them up at night. Okay. And then more importantly, let me give you an example. If I have a leaky faucet and it's leaking in my kitchen, it's just a little drip, not hurting anything. And a plumber comes to me and says, you know, you really should take care of that. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's okay. If that leaky faucet happens to start to overflow on my brand new kitchen floor, how important is money at that point? How important is how much that plumber cost? It becomes, no, Carlos, for me, if that water is dripping on my brand new kitchen floor that I just paid $3,000 or $5,000, I'm calling the plumber and say, get here right now. I do not care how much it costs. Get here right now. Wait, explain, Carlos, why you say, oh no. I'm curious, because to me, money becomes no, put it this way, with enough pain, enough problem, people find the money. So if you can articulate that you are, you guys are comedians, $500, right? But I paid 3,000. I paid 3,000 for the floor. So if it's going to cost me at the most 1,000 for the plumber, get over here, right? Maybe that was a bad example. But if you solve pain, people, yes. Pete, this last comment, Kennedy, I think the name is Kennedy. People find a way for what they want. Yeah, they do. So that's how you're going to find your ideal customer, is you're going to find out what pain you make go away. And there's pain in everything. It's a spectrum. So when we talk about success indicators, you guys can read all this. Customer journey, knowing the customer. If you're a good writer, you will make a lot of money anywhere you are. So pretty websites, remember, don't sell products, words and images do. So I want you to think of this. Who knows what the most visited site, oh my gosh, Patrick, I might just be calling you for real. Who knows what the most visited site on the planet is? Anybody want to take a shot at that? Those are really good guesses. Oh, Baba. Google is not a website. Amazon is, but it's not the most visited. Mine, yes, Carlos, go. I love that confidence. It's Wikipedia. It's the most visited website on the planet. It's the website that's out there that has the most traffic in the whole world. Does anybody want to know why? Yeah, Seth, because it has what I'm looking for. It solves the problem. Amen, Gregory. I need to know this information. Who was the first person? What's the history of? Right. It gives me what I'm looking for. It answers my question. Every time someone goes to their device, computer, mobile, it's a question. Doesn't have a question mark at the end. I know. They can suggest edits. But if you want to get on Wikipedia, it's a really hard process. They just don't take anyone. You have to go through a process. But here's the thing. It is the most visited website in the world, and it's the most ugliest website in the world. So I'm just making a point that pretty websites don't sell product. And then, making sure that you are choosing the right product. And most important, last but not least, is patience. Patience. Doing the work. You ready to do the work? I'm gonna X out of this presentation for a minute, and we are going to do some work. I want you guys to exit full screen. There we go. All right. I want you guys to go to your search engines. We're going to do a little exercise here. Really, for you, once you decide on your product and your platform, you have to show up. You, like I said, you could have this website. Okay, yeah, we got this website, great. Now what? You got to get people there, right? That's 50% of it, is getting people there. Once you get them there, now your website better do the work in converting them. So getting them there is half of the battle, showing up when it matters. So I want you guys to type in a website called Answer the Public. Who's ever heard of this? Anybody ever heard of Answer the Public? Answer the Public. All right, Brian. Good. Brian, have you used it before? Let me explain to you what it is, guys. Not as much as I should. Amen, brother. Listen, this is a culmination of every question asked on the internet about a topic. So what the search engines tell us is they present things to people that they're all about their user. So Google doesn't care about your business. They care about the search person, me, the person that's searching. So if I put in, I'm, getting a car, Buick or Toyota or whatever, it's going to present the website that provides the best information about that. Now, when it's product driven, remember, they're going to look for wider selection. So having a lot of products, they're going to look at how much your site is visited before, and they're going to look at your reviews and your ratings and your product ratings. But if you are offering a product that solves a problem, here's what happens. So you're going to hit this website, go to this website called Answer the Public. And on the free version, guys, before you start searching, you only get 3 searches on the free version, then you have to pay. So use it sparingly. But before you start, I want to give you a scenario. I want everyone to listen to scenario because we've all done it and your customer does it. I have a problem. I'm trying, and this was a real problem. Well, let's use the medical problem first. I have a rash on my leg. So what do? Google is now mom. I don't call my mom now. I go to Google. Rash on my leg, right? So what happens with the rash? They give me all these remedies. I run the Rite Aid. I get the stuff. I try it for a few days. Doesn't work. The rash is getting bigger. And it's like, oh man, I am not going to be able to solve this problem on my own. I just need to spend the money and get it a real deal thing or a professional. So I call a doctor. Well, I go on Google, I say, I need a skin doctor, a dermatologist. 4 or 5 come up. Now, I want you to imagine this is retail. 5 stores come up. I'm looking for the one that resonates with me most because everyone is different. What you bring to the table may not do anything for me, and what I bring in to the table might not do anything for you. So I look at the list of doctors, I look at the reviews, I go and check out their website, maybe hit their social platforms. I'm down to 2. See my funnel? I got this problem, trying to solve it myself, trying to get a professional. Now who's out there? That's the middle of the funnel. Who's out there? I've narrowed it down. I'm ready to buy. Now I got to decide, and I call and make the appointment. Here's the deciding factor. I go to one website, can make my appointment right online, enter all my insurance information, done deal. Next guy tells me I got a call Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, you had me, but you just lost me. So I go to this guy. But we all experience this, whether it's a problem or a need. When we talk about lifestyle products for the folks who are selling clothing, for the folks who are selling fashion and accessories, you are not selling that at all. You are selling a feeling. You are selling a feeling. How am I going to feel in that clothing? How am I going to feel in that accessory? I don't want you to think about the product that you're selling at all. Stay away from it's 100% cotton, it's quality material. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What they care about is how I feel. So if you want to know what they're asking about women's blouses, what they want to know, you should be answering those questions either within your product descriptions or on a blog on your product e-commerce site. So who has done a search for Answer the Public? Oh, and by the way, guys, let me just share my screen here. So if I do digital marketing, which is way too broad for me, you can see the search volume. This is in a month, 110,000 searches a month. When you get to this big circle thing, this makes my eyes go buggy here. Click on the word data. So I get it in list. So if I'm selling a digital product for digital marketing, I'm going to create some blogs around this, around these questions. Because if these are the most asked questions, I want to answer them the best. How many of you are using this tool right now as we speak? Are you guys going through this exercise? I'll give you a few minutes. I know this has nothing to do with e-commerce, but it has everything to do with e-commerce. Everything. Flooring. Patrick, what'd you find out? Are you going to be selling wholesale product online, or are you going to be selling services, or both? Patrick, that one's for you. Flooring guy. Doing it on my phone. Good, Marjorie. Yep. Doesn't matter where you do it. Patrick, are you selling wholesale product online, or are you providing services as well, installation? He must be reading the data. Anybody else want to throw something out there? How about our gluten-free person? Is that you, Marjorie? Are you providing gluten-free? Remember, guys, you are competing with the Amazons and the Walmarts of the world. So, Carlos, you're selling a personalized mug. Listen to me, my friend, right there. Personalized. Carlos is selling a personalized mug to remember a family member that passed away. I lost my mother and I lost my dog. And let me tell you something. That emotion, I bought so many remembrance things. Oh my gosh, I almost went broke. Why? Because the emotion is so heavy. When you can tie an emotion to your product, you'll win all the time, Carlos. You will win all the time. So when we talk about universal truths like grief and love and loss, which doesn't matter what language you speak, what country you're from, you're going to experience those things. If you can speak to that, if you can provide a product that can speak to that, you'll win, 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 win. Read the plumber quotes. So started to sell phone cases. Gift baskets online. Oh, who's got the gift baskets? I have a retailer that's doing gift baskets online. Yep, just actually we put them in, and he's now going to launch around mid-April. Small, medium, large. Italian grocer here locally. Okay, so I'm not getting tons of feedback on the answer to the public. Here's the other thing I want you to do, guys. I want you to, this is really important for product people and for any business. I use this tool every single day. The tools I'm showing you are free. Google Trends. Google Trends is going to tell you how popular your search term is. So I actually work with a lot of clothing folks, but I'm not seeing a lot of clothing people on here. Let's see who we got. We got flooring. Cookies. Ooh, Marjorie. Okay. Homemade baked goods. Yes. Yes. Kalik, answer the public can help a Shopify account. Yes. Remember, every search is a question. Groceries cart. So, Kalik, what are you selling? Oh, hair extensions. I got someone who's doing hair extensions too. She's doing drop ship through Shopify. Hair extensions with eyelashes. Okay, perfect. Clothing, Cleek, yes, clothing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, go to Google Trends. Service and product. Also, service and products, describe that. Barb. Oh, Barb. Sorry, Barb. Barb, what kind of service and products? Okay, go. For those of you doing clothing, go to Google Trends and do. We just found out asymmetrical shirts was a thing. I had no idea. Sorry, Asa, I'm sorry. So search your product. Let's do women's. Let's do blouses. And here's what Google Trends is going to tell us. Gross, okay. Professional home organizing. Oh, Amy, you certainly solve a big problem. So if I do this women's blouses on Google Trends, it's going to show me those peaks and valleys throughout the year. Because right now, oh, this is just in the past day. Let's go to 12 months. I'm going to get the peaks and valleys, probably a big peak. Look at that, right in the springtime. People are shopping for vacation. We go down. There's some spikes here for summer. Summer is like, okay, yeah. And then what happens? Oh, fall, right? Clothing is very seasonal, guys. So you'll look and see these are the states that they're most popular in. This search term, just this search term. And then down here is what we call related queries. These are breakouts. Now, obviously, you're going to compete with brands if you're doing clothing, but get past the breakouts. See the word breakout here on the bottom? And go into rising. Okay. Vince Camuto blouses is up 400% in the last 12 months. Well, I don't really compete with Vince Camuto, so how could I use that and leverage it? And we've done this lots of times, it works, is in the product description. If I had a blouse that was similar to his, I would be inspired, you know, like we do the same thing with Disney for someone else. Disney inspired creations. This is Vince Camuto inspired blouses. I'm using his name. The search term is up. You're not doing anything bad. You're not disparaging him. You're not stealing from him. And also you want to make sure that the blouse is actually inspired, you know, it's similar. I'm using that as an example. So let's look at some other things. Levi's is up 140%. So if I'm an online clothing retailer, I would think about putting some Levi's in my shop. Business casual blouses up 150%, people. There you go. Beautiful blouses and tops. Who searches that? How many of you thought somebody would be searching beautiful blouses and tops? I didn't think anyone would search that. That is up 150% over the last year in these states. I can get down, right down if I wanted to the past hour. I wouldn't bet my business on the past hour. I would make decisions based on a year, because with clothing, any other business, it's cyclical. You're going to see peaks and valleys, but this will also help you determine, number one, what products you should be carrying. Number two, how to write your product descriptions to include these search terms that are on the rise. Because if you can get the ones on the rise, like beautiful blouses, beautiful blouses and tops, I'd go with that one for my category or collection name rather than women's blouses, because women's blouses is probably used by JCPenney, by Macy's, but I don't know who's using this in their store. And if you can break yourself out and get down into a little niche, you can win. You know, I don't know what the search volume is, and that's a whole nother conversation. There's a way to tell volume on the rising trends, but let's say it's 10,000 a month. Everyone else, all the big dogs, are focused on this. You could get focused on this and win a percentage of the of those searches. So Google Trends will tell you what's on the rise, and it will give you the peaks and valleys of a search term. So what's going to happen with your e-commerce? Loose lay flooring. Whoa, Patrick. Oh, dude. That term right there, you better just like fill all your contact with. So that's up 1,700%. That's amazing. I'd be jumping all over that. Here's how you use the peaks and valleys, folks. Is every business is cyclical, and Patrick, even your business, like people tend to do home remodeling projects in the spring that are require construction, and they do like the painting and the little stuff in the winter. But you're going to, so if it's women's blouses, right here before it hits a peak in this week of April, right here is you're going to start really promoting your women's blouses. And then not so much here, you're going to have to find something else during the summer. But then when fall hits, what's fall? Kids back to school. I mean, women, we are notorious. And I spent a lot of time in retail. Tops are like the #1 thing for us. I'll buy a top and I'm throwing them out. Now it's showing. Did you find it? Amy, you're going to have to get creative with yours. I did a home organizer by using the words decluttering, because again, you're solving a cluttering problem. You're solving an overwhelm problem. Organization, how to move, people moving. I worked with a home organizer. So you may not want to put like organizer. No one's searching for that. They're searching for, how do I fix this myself first? Just like the doctor. So with the peaks and valleys, you're gonna really put heavy emphasis on those products during the peaks and valleys for Google Trends. And then the rising things will give you an opportunity to get terms that are on the rise that you can use, in your product descriptions and the content across your entire digital footprint. Let's see what else here. Lane Bryant, Uniqlo, that used to be my customer. Women's dressy blouses up 50%. And this is a very general term here, but you get the idea. And this is not something this is not like something you're gonna do in an hour. This is something I want you to think about these words and come back to. Lisa, what if we have a blog post that gets a lot of attention on our site? How can we utilize this traffic to guide people to more of what we do? Man, such a great question. So if you have a blog, I have a woman in Buffalo, Sarah, who has a blog, very popular. I won't say her name. She gets 34,000 hits a month to her blog. She opened up a brick and mortar store and an online store. So within the content of your blog, there is a recipe for this, Sarah. What you're going to do is you're going to speak to the topic. All right. And here's the one thing that service providers do that we all make this mistake. We give it all away, right? Sometimes it is good to give it all away because you're providing a lot of value and you're going to be like this go-to place. But what you want to do is people aren't really being sold on the program. They're being sold on the transformation. What happens after I work with you, Sarah? So, first of all, you have to explain in that blog, like, yes, here's a way to fix your issue. Here's why you suffer from this. You cannot do this on your own. Trust me, there's tons of research out there. Point to the research. This is why you can't do this on your own. People normally can't gain confidence and build up their self-esteem on their own internally. They need a guide. And here's why you need a guide. And here's why I'm the best guide. Because this requires a process. I can't take you from 0 to 100 in 3 months. This requires peeling the onion. I know the questions to ask. Your guide needs to understand what questions, so you can kind of walk them through the scenario of whatever the blog is, what your process is. So you might be talking about a topic in your blog, Sarah, and you can say, when I work with a client who has this issue, we typically go through a process. And the first part of the process is this, and the second part of the process. And then in that content, Sarah, okay, I'm sorry. I got to stop looking at the chats. That's funny, Amy. In the content, Sarah, you want to link to your programs and pages that actually sell. So when you say the words, typically when I work with a client who has this issue, work with a client links that, and again, they are not buying a program. Whenever we buy anything, it's a feeling. What happens at the end? What's my transformation? Gregory, a blog does drive traffic to your site, but if you're talking about organically, you have to implement strategies that I'll tell you a funny story. You have to implement strategies that's going to help you show up in Google. I have a guy locally who went into business in we're in Niagara Falls, so it's tourist season. He opened the business in July last year, middle of tourist season, made some serious money, like 50 grand a month for the next 2 months. Things closed down here around October. And here's what he did. He went online all winter long and looked up how to do all these things. And he calls me just a month ago and says, yeah, I want to run some pay-per-click ads. Okay, you need a funnel, da, da, da. I go and audit his site, and this dude is actually ranking on page 1. So Gregory, to answer your question, yes, it will. He wrote a lot of blogs about Niagara Falls, but what he did was this, and he put in the words and answered the questions better than the 5 competitors that are in the area that have been doing this for 20 years. And he literally bumped them off the first page of Google. Hi, Mike. Welcome, Mike Webb. What's your business? So Gregory, you can write a blog that will drive traffic, but this is the homework you have to do. You have to figure out the words that you're going to use. All right. Anybody have any questions with Google Trends and answer the public? Are you seeing the correlation that it relates to selling products online? Or did I just take you guys off the rails? Because I can do that too. Gosh, I want to open up all the mics and hear your voices. So play around with this, again, using different variations. So one other thing you do, and again, these 3 exercises, what's the process? Yes, good question, Sarah, because that's exact. Before we touch a website. Yes, Angela, words are everything. Okay, before we touch a website, we go through this process. I'm going to show you the 3 steps we do, because there's one other piece to this. Leak, I'm not familiar with any. I'm going to put this in so you can use SEM, or it's called SEMrush. That'll cost you $119 a month. You can use SE rankings. We'll give you kind of the same information. That'll cost you about $100 a month. And there's one other site we're going to use tonight. Uber Suggest. All these, I put a whole list of resources in the last page of this. All right, I'm going to show you the process because, again, we don't touch a website. We don't touch it until this work is done. Again, I could build this beautiful e-commerce for my clients, but if it is not showing up, if nobody is finding it, it is worthless. It's like a digital catalog or brochure that sits out on the interweb, right? And what happens with brochures? How many of you have gotten a brochure? What happens? We get it home, what happens? We go like this. Oh, wow, this was nice. That's nice. That's nice. Then we throw it in the garbage. Right, Carlos. Yep. Yep. And do we ever remember the company of the brochure? No. Good question, Marjorie, and I'll answer that in just a second. Yeah. I would suggest that you don't pay for any of those business listings, none of them, because Google My Business will give you more business than Yelp, and it's free. So get a listing on Yelp. It's absolutely valuable. Don't pay for nothing. You don't need to. Okay, so let me go through the process. Here's the process that we would do. I want to use someone's business who wants to volunteer their business, because I want to make this a real life example. All right, Kalik. What's your bit? What is it online? Was it Rose something? Yes, Carlos tried Yelp. It was horrible. Renee's Crochet, Haggerty Flooring. It's terrible. TG. Okay, we're going to use 2. Aaron, good to see you, my friend. Didn't see you pop in. Patrick, that's your flooring. I don't care about your website. I I just want to do some research on your business, on the words that people might be using. Patrick, what's the problem that you solve? And we'll use the Black Rose store too. What is the problem that you solve, Patrick? Do you know? Can you say it in 60 seconds? Yes. Aesthetics. That's my kind of. I like that. Patrick is either, okay, let's go with one store here. Let's go with the Black Rose. I'm not going to hit your website because I don't need to. I just need to know what kind of product you sell. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to set up a Google Ads account. And I do not have to spend one dime on Google Ads, not one dime. So get your pens out. This is the process that we use. This is the process that when we launch, we know there is going to be some level of organic traffic. So you don't have, when you sign up for a Google Ads account, you don't have to put a credit card or anything in. You just sign up for an account. You don't have to run an ad, nothing. What you want, remember, Google has 92% of global search. 92% people, 92% of the world uses Google for search. So if you can nail that beast, then you can worry about Bing and Internet Explorer and the rest of them who only have the other 8%. 92% of the global search is on Google. So I'm always using Google products. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have 3 tabs up. I'm going to have my Google Trends. I'm going to have ads up. I'm going to have one more site up, and that's called Uber Suggest. I want everyone to go look at Uber Suggest. This again, you get 3 free hits for the free version. So, you know, be careful how much you use it a day because you only get the 3, but it is enough. Trust me, it is enough. So the thing I want to understand is what words should I use that are trending? When should I be using them? And is there anything that I could uncover that my competition isn't using? So that's what I'm using Google Trends for. So I found out, and we're going to use this right here, business casual blouses. I'm going to hone in on this because this is important, right? So I'm going to go into my keyword planner. I'm going to hit discover new keywords. I'm going to do business casual. And I got a feeling we're going to get a dud here. Blouses. Here's why I want to use keyword planner. Because the search engine is going to look at your product, business casual blouses. You can't overdo it with the one word. They're looking for relevancy, words that have relevancy. So tops, women's clothing, workwear for women. I want to look up different ways that I can say this, but I also want to get search volume on this. Okay, guys, here we go. So business casual blouses gets an average of 1,900 searches a month. Over here, I can see that over in the last 3 months, this term is up 82%. And over a year, it's up 23%. So I would rather capture this 1,900 than go up against JCPenney with the term women's blouses. How many of you are following me? Say aye. I'm going to copy Coleek's store here. And is everyone following me to an extent? Aye. Okay. Awesome. That last piece about JCPenney, what does that mean? That means that I'm going to choose words. If I was to look up women's blouses, Sarah, there would probably be 100,000 a month. That's what we call a very highly competitive keyword. There's a lot of search for it, so the big dogs are going after it. I'm a little guy. I need to like find my little corner, my little piece of the pie. Remember, there's like billions of searches a day. I just want this little grain of sand in that ocean. So I might choose business casual women tops because that one has 6,000 searches a month. So I would choose that as a category name rather than women's blouses, because if I did women's blouses, let's just do that. You're going to see what the search volume of that is. So you don't want to compete as you're new. If you're new, if you got a big budget, you got some money to throw at it, and you want to hire somebody to do your search engine optimization, here, go after women's blouses. See that? 90,000 searches a month. Who's going after that search? Because it's so popular, because the volume is there. The big guys are going after that search. So I'm going to use Google Trends to find the little golden nuggets that are on the rise that I have an opportunity to capture before the big guys get it. See, they're not interested in that 6,000 searches. They don't even want it. They got 6,000 people coming to their website a month. They're going to stick with women's blouses because they can afford to compete with it. So you're going to use this one because it's a smaller share of the pie, and you actually have a chance to show up for that search rather than showing up for women's blouses. Did I explain that? Long tail marketing. Yes, Gregory. So keyword is one word. What are you looking for in the rising search words? I'm looking for this right here, without a brand. I don't really know how to incorporate Levi's because I don't sell Levi's, let's just say, but I'm going to use Cleats business. Short sleeve. Let's do this. High percentage. Yes, Sarah. Let's do this. I don't think this website looks bad at all. Who said it's bad? Did you say your website was horrible? You got all the colors here. Fantastic. Okay. Catalog. Let's see. Men's clothing line. All right. So I'm just going to do this one product because I want to see how he's doing. So I'm going to enter this into Google Trends. That's my first thing. You guys can do this along with me with your own product if you want. Let's see how many people are searching for short sleeve unisex t-shirt. What happened, guys? Anybody want to chime in? And Kalika, I'm not pointing you out to like make fun or anything, because let me tell you something. We all make these mistakes because we use our insider words, right? We use the words that we use to describe. Like when I said SEO today, I just said SEO. Nobody knew what the heck I was talking about. I mean, if I didn't see a picture, I wouldn't know what that meant, I guess. So there isn't a trend or any search volume. I'm going to check Google Trend or Google Ads just to see. I'm doing a sanity check here. All right, let's see what comes up. Look at the search volume, Kalik. 10 searches a month. I hope I'm saying your name right. So that is not what you're going to name that product. Is everyone following me? Okay, so now I want to go check the competitors. Let's see who is selling this and what are they showing up for? Because this is a description of a product. Let's look at this. Do any of these look familiar to you guys? Any of these stores? The big brands are not, you don't see this showing up for like the big brands because they know no one's searching for this. So this is a t-shirt, a unisex t-shirt. Let's just do t-shirts. I'm sure that's like a hugely popular. So let's take one of the big stores. Oh, I like Redbubble. I like Redbubble. Let's look at that one, okay? So I have found a site that is similar to mine, but I'm getting no search volume for the product description I'm using. So I'm going to take their site. So remember, one, Google Trends. I'm going to see if there is trending, if there's rising. Two, I go to AdWords. I see what the volume is. Just because it's rising doesn't mean, you know, there's 5,000 searches a month. There might be only 10, but it's on the rise, right? We want to make sure it's worth our while. And then three, I'm going to find something that's similar to me, that's selling something similar. And I'm going to head over to Google Suggest, Uber Suggest. And this is going to tell me how much traffic they get and what keywords that they're showing up for. So I'm just going to, I don't even have to do the homework. I could just take my competitors' keywords because no one owns keywords, right? But when you do this, guys, I want to make sure that you're doing it with a competitor that is 3 to 5 years ahead of you. Not a JCPenney, not a Walmart, not a Forever 21, okay? You're going to do it with, let me just sign into my own account. You're going to do it with a business that's 3 to 5 years ahead of you. So let's check this out, Redbubble. And right now they're just, I'm getting a traffic estimation on how much traffic. So remember we talked earlier about conversion rate? I'm going to put something in the chat I want you to read because I want to make sure everyone is engaged. Are you putting the search word only into Google or also modifying the website? Good question, Mike. Let's go through this process again because, Khalik, I know everyone says, wow. Everyone I work with. Okay, so Mike, let me answer the question for you. I start with Google Trends and I see if the word is viable or the key term. Keyword is one word. Long tail means I'm just using a few words. So for Khalik, I might be using custom t-shirts. That would be like long tail or custom design t-shirts. A keyword just would be t-shirt. So I start in Google Trends, make sure that it is viable, and I look for what we call the rising trends, which are usually right here. I call these the little golden nuggets. So I take the term and I take the golden nuggets and I head over to Google Ads and use what we call Keyword Planner. All the tools I'm showing you today are free. You can use them and do this exact same process. I go to Google Ads because now I want to see search volume. I found this golden nugget in the rising. It's rising. It's on the rise. This term is on the rise, but it's only 10. So I'm not sure if I'm going to invest my time and energy into, you know, only 10 searches a month, right? And you get to decide on what you're going to invest your time and energy in. Once I've determined, yep, this is a good word, I'm going to use this, I go to the internet and I find someone else who's selling it. Why do I want to do that? I'll tell you why. Because, hold on guys, because my internet is super slow. Let me get out of some of this stuff here. Because I want to see what keywords they're showing up for. I want to see which pages have the most traffic. Why do I want to see that? Because that is going to help me understand the products I should be carrying. So if I'm looking at t-shirts, unisex t-shirts, right, Khalik? I want to go find somebody who's selling them, and they might, their highest performing page might be red unisex t-shirts. So guess what? I'm going to get some red stuff. I'm going to get the red because they're selling it. So when we talk about conversion rate, here's something that you can bet on across all industries. I don't care what you're selling online. The average conversion rate is 1 to 3%, 1 to 3. So if this guy has 100 visits a month, I can say he's probably selling 1 to 3 things. safely say. Now, don't get me wrong, we have conversion rates that are 12, 20, 30% conversions, but the average across all industries is 1 to 3. So if I could get this to work, does anybody want to try this for me? This doesn't normally do this, but because I have so much going on, I'm going to stop my video too, because that's a culprit, is the video will suck my bandwidth. All right, I'm going to refresh this now. Uber Suggest will tell me, here we go. So will tell me what kind of traffic these guys are getting. It doesn't look like they're getting any, but I don't know if this is actually reality because my internet is so slow. So let's just do this. Redbubble. Has anybody heard of this before? I just got turned on to these guys. I'm going to do Redbubble again. And this is probably a bad idea because it's not fast. So let's try this again. There we go. Wow! Smokes, man. Gleek, are you listening? No. No, yes, no. I forgot what question I asked. Okay, remember Google Trends, keyword planner. And then Uber Suggest, I want to find somebody who's selling it. So these folks get 45, is that 45 million organic hits a month? That's organic. They're not paying for anything. Great. Awesome. Good for them. I'm robbing every idea they have. Sorry. Okay. Now here's their top pages. I'm really only interested in the US because that's the only place I'm selling right now. I'm not a global e-commerce person. So CrossFit t-shirt is the second most popular page on their website. Khalik, you might want to go look at some CrossFit t-shirts. I have no idea what they are, but do you see this process, Khalik, how it's happening, how I'm uncovering this? Game of Thrones t-shirt is the third most popular page. Yes, thank you, sir. Yes, I know, it is amazing. Third most popular page on their site. Guess what, Khalik? I'm going to get me some Game of Thrones t-shirts of the Game of Thrones all over my website, right? And I can go to top pages by traffic, and I can go into keywords as well. So if I look down here, obviously they're a big brand, and I just got turned on to them myself. So of course, the brand is always going to come up if they're a big brand. But here is what they're showing. Look at this, Khalik, what they're showing up for. Theme shirts, art t-shirts, CrossFit tee, 1.5 million. Oh man, go get the CrossFit. Game of Thrones, 1.2 million. That's the volume of search. Here's their position. Here's the estimated visits. So now I don't have to come up with stuff. I already know. How does this tie back to my Google keywords? Good question, Amy. She's a whipper here. Okay. What Google Ad Keywords does, Amy, it gives me variations of the keyword, because I can't say CrossFit 400 times on my site because Google's going to be like, you're keyword stuffing, buddy. Shame on you. Go home. You're going to get spanked. So you have to use Google Ads. It's a tool in Google Ads called Keyword Planner. One, it helps us understand the search volume, and two, it gives me a variation of the term. It'll give me all variations. So if I put CrossFit t-shirt in here for Khalik, I think it was CrossFit tee. Let's just try that. And I know nothing about this industry, so bear with me. So there you go. 368,000 searches a month. But now this gives me all the different variations of it. And there's 131 variations of it. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to use a word over and over and over again. I know. It is almost 8:15. See, I just love this stuff so much and I want to help you guys. Okay. So, and I am to the end. We only have a couple slides left. How many of you understand this process, which is so important to your e-commerce business? You know, if you pick a popular platform and get a merchant service, fantastic. This is really, really super important. Okay, so the keyword planner will help us get variations. Keep going. Okay, Rodney. Keywords in Google. Last step is Uber suggest, and that does. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Let me backtrack to Rodney. Rodney, on the keywords again. I'm gonna start with a keyword in Google Ads, but I'm not running an ad. I'm using the tool called Keyword Planner. This is going to give me search volume and it's going to give me a variation of my keyword. That's why I'm using it. So if I'm using, and Khalik was so awesome to allow us to use his business. So I'm going to use a CrossFit t-shirt this time. See if I get a better. And I'm going to look for, yeah. So I'm going to, yeah, no, CrossFit tee. Look at that, you guys. Who would have thought? I would say to Khalik, put CrossFit t-shirt in there. Name it CrossFit t-shirt. Khalik, do not listen to me because CrossFit tee is the winner. I'm looking for search volume, Rodney. I want to see search volume and I want to get I want to get 100 ways of saying the same thing. Because if you use the keyword over and over again in your website, Google will penalize you for what they call keyword stuffing. So CrossFit tee is the winner. Who would have thought? How many of you would have thought CrossFit tee instead of CrossFit t-shirt? Right? So if I'm going to sell CrossFit t-shirts on my e-commerce site, maybe people are crazy. It's a trend. I don't know. But here's the thing, guys. Khalik is selling t-shirts. And they look like they're pretty good t-shirts. Like they're quality. He's got a lot of selection. But no one is searching for the thing that he named the product. So I don't know what CrossFit is, to be honest with you. Maybe less to type is key. Yes, Marjorie. But if this is anything like a CrossFit, I would say short sleeve CrossFit tee with the letter T. You have the word CrossFit tee in there, you go into the pool of this 368,000. So when I say that, I want to look at businesses, and this is where Uber Suggest comes in, because I may not have to come up the words. Let's say there's a few people that are like 3 to 5 years old that where I want to be in 3 to 5 years. I just go to their website and see what they're ranking for, what offers that they're doing. I don't copy, but they don't have a copyright on words. Nobody has a copyright on CrossFit tee. All right, guys, I am getting to a point where we are a little over time, so I want to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this activity tonight and learned it. We just have one other thing I want to say, and this is the last slide here that I'll do, is please always be a student of your customer. How are you going to be a student of your customer? You're going to do what I just did. You're going to find out what words they're using, how they're searching. Okay. And then last but not least, credibility matters. You can read through this. Online reviews, very important. Professional looking website. You guys listen to me. Don't try to DIY this thing and make it look amateur, because people will spot that from a mile away. And then last but not least, I put together a list of tools and articles that I have referenced myself, that I give my own students. I teach a e-commerce boot camp at Canisius College. And this is part of what I call the toolbox. So Thanks, Sarah. And Sarah, you're my friend, so you're gonna say that. Another thing you want to do is site speed is GT metrics, because you want to make sure your website is fast. If your site loads in more than 5 seconds, you're going to lose 75% of your visitors. So this does bring us to a close. We have 10 minutes and I'm going to take questions. Ted, do we have 10 minutes?
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead and answer questions.
Yeah, I want to take I tried to get everybody through the chat to their specific situation. You're welcome, everybody. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you guys were engaged. How about individual questions? I know what I threw at you was a lot, and I always say to myself, oh my gosh, how do I do this in 2 hours? And it's nearly impossible. So if you have questions, you're welcome. Ken, I didn't see you chime in earlier. Individual questions that you might have relating your own specific thing. Guys, Google has tons of resources for retail, especially online. Marjorie, Yelp. Yeah, so Yelp is a business listing site. I would highly recommend you all get on Yelp, but I wouldn't pay for it. Carmelita, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Janine. Let's see, I think we need to play around with it. Oh, Gregory, play around with it for hours, my friend. Do this just the way that you did it. Okay. Awesome. Okay, let's see what else. You said people can spot you DIY. Kennedy, yes. There are, oh, you're welcome, Robin. Thank you for chiming in. Kennedy, there is a thing about websites that if it's done DIY, like if you're like, you know, if your text is like uneven or your picture isn't centered or it's kind of clunky looking, that's what I mean by people spot that. Because see, they go to websites, we all go to websites all day long. So we're used to this experience. We go to Bank of America website, it's perfect, right? Well, I guess perfect, whatever. But we go to Ulta website, it's perfect. And then we go to this other website and like the picture isn't big, or you know, the text isn't aligned properly, or images are blurry, or it takes a long time to load. That's what I mean, is people can spot it because they're used to seeing world-class websites all day long when they're searching. Okay, on websites, how do you find what platform is user-friendly? Kennedy, I will tell you right now, it's going to be Shopify, it's going to be Square, woman with the speaking about, so yes, you're right. Thank you, Robin. You're right. Thank you. I didn't catch that one. Shopify, Square Up, very, very user-friendly. I would not suggest Wix, and I would not suggest Squarespace. And here's why, guys, because you are never going to scale and grow and show up in a search on those platforms. It's called shared hosting, and you're basically living in a huge apartment complex with 1,000 other businesses, and you're all wearing red shirts. So it's going to be impossible for you to be found. Try using keyword here. Does that automatically go to Google search engine? Philippe, here's the thing. That's such a good question. The two things is Google search index crawls on the website and then indexes it every so often. Sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's 60 days. It will do it automatically, but you can push it forward. Write this down. Google Search Console. It's free. And you can say, index my site, please. You mentioned they didn't let you have a static web because it's like basic if incorrect. No, I said a static website. I said, oh, that's my kind of site. No, I just meant that Shopify can limit you on design. Like, let's say you want to have a product, an image that's front and center here, but the theme only allows you to put the image to the left. There's no way to move that image to where you want it. You're pretty much got a template and you got to fill in the words with the space they give you and the image holding spaces that they give you. Or you can hire a developer. Just like basic. Yeah, it is a little basic. Website startup. Beta development at Yahoo. Thanks, Mike. Mike, ping me. I'm always looking for good developers. So you can use Squarespace. Can you change? No, not Squarespace, Square Up. Can you change it? Here's the thing, guys. Any platform you're going to get on, you're going to be married to. With the exception of WordPress, because that is you can kind of download stuff and move the website. Squarespace, Shopify, do not use Squarespace, use Square Up. No, you cannot, if you're going to change, it's going to be painful. Because if you input 150 products and you get this site just perfect the way you want, you decide to change, you're going through the whole process again. How can you tell if your SEO is good? Great question, Amy. You can use Uber Suggest. Uber Suggest, you can put your own website in there. Put your own website in there and come over here and do site audit. It'll tell you what is wrong, what isn't there, what needs to be worked on, and what is good. And it's free. Everything I'm giving you guys is free. I've Googled my own business too many times. Yes, you're right, Amy. You know what you got to do, girl, right here. See this little thing up in Google? And I have a bazillion customers on here. So what you'll do is you'll go up here and you'll scroll all the way down and use guest. We call that incognito mode. And this way, no search history is on there. So you will be able to see how it is. You won't have this many, but you'll just click here and just go to guest, and that is incognito mode. Platforms allow you to give customers personal objects. Great. Both Shopify and WordPress will allow you to do that. I have a customer who owns a candy kebab business, and you order the kebab and you pick from 50 different candy options. Okay. Would you use Fiverr? Heck, no. No, call Mike. No, don't use Fiverr. They say it's $5, but you'll end up paying much more than that. And the work is not quality. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it, Ted. I think I answered most of them. Amy, try Ange, try Upwork. Little better quality of people.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate all of the in-depth analysis that you've given our attendees. We will be sending a link to the recording of tonight's webinar, and that'll be going out to all the attendees. Also a PDF of the slides from the presentation. So, and just one final question, Lisa, if they wanted to contact you, did you put your contact information in the presentation slides? I don't think I remember seeing it.
No, I did not. I did not want to, overstep that, but I'll put it right in the chat. And if someone asks for it and you want to pass it along, that would be great. So you guys can email me or get in touch with me through Ted. But again, SCORE is a great place to get the advice and the mentoring that you need for sure. And do this homework first.
Very great advice. Thanks again, Lisa, for your time, your expert in-depth analysis and information. Thanks to all our attendees for being here tonight. Please continue to look at the buffaloniagara.score.org website for future webinars and workshops. Next week, we have that two-part marketing series, which complements what Lisa has done tonight. And so please take a look at that and see if you'd like to register for that. We wish everybody a great evening.
Ted, can I just interject? I do run a Facebook group. There is no charge to this. I'm going to get you guys the link, and it's 160 other business owners. Many of them are e-commerce. I'm going to send the link to you. There is no charge. I don't sell in this group in any way, shape, or form. It is basically for anyone who wants to learn digital marketing if you're a small business and just can't afford an agency. So I'm going to put that right here in the chat. You're more than welcome to join the group. There's trainings in there. There's PDFs, SEO stuff, all kinds of stuff. And again, it is absolutely free to join. And again, there is no strings attached in this group.
Wow, what a fabulous offer. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. We're done for the evening, and thanks again for being with us, everyone. We'll see you soon at another SCORE workshop or webinar. Good night.